And what is up, everyone? Welcome back. It is me, Bro WBT, and today I'm going to give you my top 10 tips for your new raiders out there. So let's jump right in with number 1. So first, we are going to be talking about your storage or your stash, where you'll be putting all of the items that you find when you go topside. So when you first start the game, you're going to have 64 slots to start out with. And of course, that will not be enough for everything that you bring back from the top. To help with this, you can expand your storage, which will cost you 5,000 coins each time that you do this. So first it's 5,000, next it's 10, and then 15, and then it goes on from there. But this will give you an extra 24 slots each time that you do this. But that isn't the only way you can free up space in your stash, which leads me to tip number 2, recycling. You're going to be able to recycle items and break them down into lower tier loot, which will give you more space in your stash. So for example, you can break down a cooling coil for 12 chemicals and 4 springs. Or you can break down a toaster into 5 plastic and 3 wires. And this will help you free up a lot of space in your stash when you need it. But not everything is something you want to recycle, which leads me into tip number 3, things that you do and don't want to recycle. So all items under the name will either have use to craft or can be recycled into crafting materials. But there are things that you're going to want to keep that it doesn't tell you. So for your workbenches, you're going to be able to level them up. And there are certain items that you will need. And some of those will have the can be recycled into materials underneath. And it doesn't directly tell you that you can use them to upgrade your workbenches. So, for example, a cracked bioscanner, it is something that it will specifically say can be recycled into materials, but you can also use it to upgrade your workbench. So make sure you're paying attention to that when you're going through your stash and breaking things down, because even though it doesn't specifically state that you need to, there are items that you're going to want to keep just in case. So make sure you're looking at those before you break them down and lose them and have to go find them again. And another thing that you're going to want to keep are your seeds. The seeds, you'll typically find them in the red lockers when you go to the top. But these seeds aren't just something you're going to want to sell. They are also used for the trader Celeste, which you can trade her for materials that you might need to build things that you want. So make sure that you look at your workbench and see what it needs to level up before you break things down, and keep the seeds. Don't sell them unless you have to or you just want more money. Tip number 4. So a lot of people have been having issue with the PvP aspect of the game. And this is a problem, especially in squads. When 2 squads meet, it is most likely going to be a firefight. But it doesn't have to be that way. So my suggestion is to try a solo match. Every encounter I've ever had in a solo match so far has been very friendly. And sometimes you'll even group up with other solo players to find good loot or even take down bigger arc. So if the PvP isn't really your thing, I suggest that you try a solo match and see how it fares for you. Tip number 5. We're going to be talking about the 4 types of ammo that you can have in the game. Specifically, the heavy ammo. So in Arc, there is light, medium, heavy, and shotgun ammo. Your light and medium, most weapons have a higher rate of fire, which is good to use coming across raiders who are trying to take you out. they don't do as much damage to arc that you would want. So the next best thing is the heavy ammo, which is compatible with the Fierro, Anvil, and the Patina. The heavy ammo is able to pierce the armor of arc as well as knock it off. So you could use, let's say, a Fierro to knock off the armor off a arc and then use a Stitcher, which takes light ammo, to finish the job. But the heavy ammo, you don't have to use just for the arc. It does insane amount of damage to other raiders. But the problem with weapons that use heavy ammo, they either have a very slow rate of fire or they have a way longer reloading time. With the Fierro, it is only a one shot and then you have to reload again, which takes a little amount of time. So for me, personally, I suggest to take a weapon with heavy ammo and to back that up, use one with a higher rate of fire in case you do come across other raiders. You're not taking so long to reload, and the Stitcher will come in handy for that. So tip number 7, we're going to be talking about the shields. So shields in Arc work a little different than they do in other games. In most games, they take all the damage before your health. But in this, they are used as damage reduction. So light shields, they have a charge of 40 with a 40% damage reduction. But a medium shield has a charge of 70 with a 42.5% damage reduction. But when you get into medium or heavy shields, they also reduce your movement speed. So a medium shield will reduce your movement speed by 5%. And lastly is the heavy shield. It has a charge of 80, but a damage reduction of 52.5. But it has a 15% reduced movement to your speed. And of course, you can recharge these shields using a shield recharger, but you're also going to want to look out for when they break. And you won't be able to fix that problem until you get back to Speranza, where you can repair your shields. Next is tip number 8. We're going to be talking about augments. Augments are a type of an equipment that you use to give you more room in your book bag. And there are 3 types of augments: tactical, looting, and combat. Tactical gives you more quick use slots for more tactical choices, but lower survivability and slightly lower looting potential. A looting augment gives you more backpack slots and weight capacity, but low defensive and tactical capability. Lastly, combat augments support stronger shields, but with limited backpack capacity and quick use slots. And of course, these come in different tiers. There's uncommon, rare, and epic. Each tier gives you more slots, more spaces for certain items. So a combat augment Mark II will give you a extra slot for grenades, while a looting augment Mark II will give you extra slots for precious items, which you then can bring back and sell for quite decent amount of money. So number 9 on my list is the dodge rolling mechanic. So in Arc, you're able to dodge and roll to not get hit by Arc or other raiders. But there is another way you can use this. So like in most games, you take fall damage when you jump from a certain height. But in Arc Raiders, you're able to use your dodge mechanic to negate this. So right before you hit the ground, you roll and it will completely negate the fall damage that you're about to take. But this only works from a certain height, or this can be very useful for trying to get away from Arc or even other raiders, or you just don't want to climb down the ladder. So make sure to keep that in mind next time that you're jumping off of something too high and you don't want to take any damage. So number 10, last but not least, is the free loadouts. So these are free loadouts that give you secondhand gear and a set of basic items. It gives you fewer inventory slots and does not have a safe pocket, but they're useful for when you're running out of weapons and items because you keep getting killed by either Ark or Raiders when you go topside, or even if you don't want to use your super good loot when you're going on to a new map. So this is just something you can keep in mind in case that you're having trouble losing a lot of your items. You can use these free loadouts and they will give you free stuff and it will keep you in the game a lot longer. So there you go, everyone. This has been my top 10 tips for the new game Ark Raiders. If this was any help to you, leave a comment below. I would very appreciate it. And if you liked this video, give me a like. And if you really liked it, hit that subscribe button. But either way, I will see you guys on the next video.